Hi, my name is Mr. Fleming from JTech, and today we're going to show you how to do an oil pressure test. Now, right now we have this oil pressure gauge hooked up to where the oil pressure sensor is connected into the block. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right here. And well, first thing we're going to do is check it at idle, and we're going to check it at about 3,000 RPMs. Now, when it's at idle, it should be around 10.1 psi, and at 3,000 RPMs, it should be around 44.1 psi. Now, if these pressures are too low while it's running, then the pressure is too low, and there's probably too much clearance between maybe some bearings or the ring gaps in the pistons or something like that. There's too much clearance somewhere, and it's able to just get by. Now, if there's too much pressure, then there's maybe some blockage somewhere in the oil galleries or somewhere like that that's stopping it up. Now we're going to go ahead and get the car going and see what the gauge reads. Now right now at idle, it's really high. It's at about 80 psi. So it's about 70 psi higher than it should be. I'm going to go ahead and rev it up to 3,000 RPM, see what we get. Go ahead. Now they got it at about 3,000 RPMs, and it's only gone up about 5 psi, maybe 6. So it's at about 85, 87 psi. So it's still, even now, it's hot. And so the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and do a signal test, and then we're going to go into describing it and about the resistance and the voltage and whatnot. Alright, now that we did the pressure test, we're going to do the signal test. Now, under here, we have this multimeter connected to the signal wire, and then now we're finna ground it to see the reference. And it's coming down to about 10 volts. So 10, 11 volts. So it's at about battery reference, but so obviously the battery is pretty low. So it's gonna be a little bit lower than 12. Now what we're gonna do next is go ahead and do the resistance of the actual sensor itself. It's coming out there we go. It's coming out to about 2.1 ohms for the resistance. So everything's in spec except for obviously the battery reference, and so that's how you check the signal. Alright, now that we showed you how to do the pressure test, the signal test, I'm going to show you how this oil pressure sensor works. Now, it grounds itself inside of the engine block, and whenever it's in the engine block, it moves back and forth. So to turn on the warning lamp, when there's no pressure, it has it closed. So it's sending a signal to the gauges, to the warning lamp, and let it know that there's low pressure or no pressure in the oil system. And now when there is pressure, it pushes it out and opens up the signal, so it doesn't show that the light's on. The light is not on, and showing that there is pressure in the system and that is working. And that is how you test the lubricating system on a vehicle.